Welcome back to N2 the Chatterverse, where two gents share their 2 cents on pop media. I am Victor Dandridge, the hardest working man in comics.
And I'm Bill, and I think that Tennessee has the same problem that Kentucky has.
Oh,
when it comes to armadillos.
Okay, all right. You've been driving through some places,
yep.
And armadillos is not like a Midwestern thing. Like I always thought it was like Texas. Like,
yeah, Texas. I just thought that's where they live.
Right.
That's it.
But you saw them in Kentucky and Tennessee.
Yes.
Maybe they're migrating. They're like they're getting out of Texas. It's like it's too much.
Kentucky and Tennessee are not Midwest.
They don't count as Midwest?
They're South.
Do they really? Is it past Mason-Dixon? I don't know why I didn't think Kentucky was. I definitely could consider Tennessee South, but I would not have considered.
Well, let's just say I don't consider them Midwest.
That's fair. All right.
So, yeah.
I'm glad that you're back. You've definitely been traveling almost as much as I have. Like this, you've been doing a lot.
Yeah, and I got one more this week.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Good times. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Well, this one is kind of inspired by the recent announcement that Marvel Studios is skipping San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And with the announcements of like delays and pushbacks and things like that, I won't say that it's surprising. However, it is grossly disappointing that they are choosing to outright skip it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's what they should do at all. You agree with me?
Oh, absolutely.
What would you have them do instead?
So, James Gunn is basically just going to show up with John Cena and sit at a table and discuss Peacemaker.
It's not hard.
And maybe, the other stuff.
Right.
Though apparently they're saying that he's not going to.
Oh, he's
okay.
going to. Of course he's going to.
Going to.
There's no reason not to. And I think that in the spirit of, we'll say, transparency.
Yeah.
You really want to get in front of all the rumor mill stuff.
Right.
Because right now we're looking at it and saying Rome is burning. And you want to come out there and be like, relax. We've got this.
Well, and also last year when we went there is when Deadpool and Wolverine opened.
Yep.
And this year it's going to be
Fantastic Four.
So I don't understand that.
Right.
And I get that, well, we've moved everything, so we don't have anything past Fantastic Four, but that doesn't mean you can't talk about it.
Right. You can definitely get us hype about it.
You don't have to have your pie charts and all this timeline stuff,
right?
Which you don't stick to anyway.
True.
And I don't blame you because you'd rather get it right
than make it hype. I get that.
Which
absolutely.
They've been doing.
They've been getting the hype.
They've been doing it for the last 5 years.
Yeah, they have. Yes, they have. Not right, but hype.
Yeah.
To that end, I said, even if you want to downgrade a little bit, right? Maybe you don't do Hall H. You do Ballroom 20, right? So it's a smaller venue, and there's less things that you maybe perhaps are showcasing. Maybe it's a look back. Maybe it's all about going back to the beginning, and you go, hey, do you guys remember all the things that we've done over the last whatever years?
Yeah.
Because I think that's one of the things that they're looking at right now. Feige he didn't die the hero, right? And now he's living long enough to become the villain. And it's so, I don't want to say unfortunate because I said it. Like I said that truthfully, Marvel Studios should have shut down after Endgame. They should have been like, we're done. We'll do something else. We'll start all over again. I don't care. But we're tapped out because we will never beat what this is. We've done it. But because they kept going, here we are 6 years later, and everything is geared towards, Marvel's lost it. They're not good anymore.
Well, I have the perfect out on that too.
What you got?
Deadpool destroys the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It would have been perfect. It would have been perfect.
Yes.
And we're done. And we're done.
Yep.
But that's not what happened.
Nope.
So, because of that, I definitely feel like they have taken a misstep. I think it's going to affect Fantastic Four sales because I think it says something. Like there's something there where you go, you're not coming to like the biggest hub of geekdom when that movie drops. Like, what's going on? Like, y'all don't want to be around when we collectively give our ire to this?
Well, I will say this. They have not dropped the schedule yet.
Okay.
So that's not to say that they won't try to do the same thing that they did last year.
Okay.
And if they do, I still will not be in Hall H watching a movie because those chairs are incredibly uncomfortable. But I wouldn't blame them for doing it.
Yeah.
It was, it was such a huge
disaster last year. That was awful. QR codes being shared amongst people, then they just stopped scanning them, and then
and people that were already in there that had the code, they told them to leave.
Right.
But everybody got a popcorn bucket.
Hey.
Except the ones that didn't.
Yes. That's so very Marvel Studios right now.
But also, I would disagree with you putting into Ballroom 20 because it's still Marvel.
Okay, that's fair.
And it would still be Saturday. Right. So,
well, to that end, I would probably change that too. Truthfully, when I say go back to basics, yes, you could go back to like literally Iron Man level. Like this is how we're going to talk about it. But back to basics. We go back to 2014 when they took over the El Capitan Theater and they announced, the Infinity Saga officially. That was amazing. And that theater does not hold as many people, I don't think, as Hall H does. And it was a big showcase of, hey, you know what? This we're on the heels of a big movie. It was right after was it Guardians? I think it was right after Guardians came out. And so they announced this full slate. There's stuff that we got to see that was great. And it was literally just placards of titles and name dates or dates. Like that was it.
And then, there doesn't have to be, huge theatrics and everything.
Exactly.
And James Gunn's going to prove that.
And see, and that's
but he's going to take away something that I really cherish on the Warner Brothers front.
Ever since you first told me that Warner Brothers does the best Hall H presentation.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, you undersold how right you are about
that. Was the whole point of it, though.
Oh my God, did you undersell it? Because when it just draws back, you're just like, what is happening here?
Right.
Wait a minute.
Right.
The fact that we won't get that with James.
Well, and I'm wondering if this isn't all going to be tied into Warner Brothers as a whole, too.
I can see that.
But off the top of my head, I don't know what the Warner Brothers slate is, and as of today, they're splitting off Warner Brothers and Discovery.
I really want James to I'm going to say it. I want James to be a jerk about it because literally we were there at San Diego when he got fired from Marvel Studios. Yep. I want him to come through and go, DC Studios is taking over the Marvel Studios time slot. I want him to separate, not from Warner Brothers can have
the problem there is that he and Kevin Feige are friends. And it wasn't Kevin Feige that fired him.
I know.
I believe it was Alan Horn, wasn't it?
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
But still.
And then, he came back.
He did. But I want, come on, get distinguished competition style. Give me some, yeah. No, we think we're doing something here.
I don't think you need that to have competition. You need to put out good product. That's all there is to it.
The simple answer.
I know it's not. It's not that easy. But also, I think that even though the second Guardians, I'm not a huge fan of.
Sure,
it's not a bad movie.
Right.
And I would almost say the third one probably is my favorite.
I can understand that.
But as a whole, the three of them work really well together.
That is true.
So I think that he's got it in him to do what needs to be done.
Absolutely. Now, to that end, doing what needs to be done, Marvel Studios is losing a step here. And I think financially, things aren't producing like they're supposed to be. And you have one of the greatest solutions. I need to... literally, how do we get in the room? You should be in the room. I need you to know that. Your answer is so very clear.
Well,
and
so first
easy.
of all, I want to say that I understand why they moved the date.
Sure.
Because December is a cash cow.
Right.
Just ask Avatar.
Yes.
Just ask Star Wars.
Right. Harry Potter. All of those.
All the, if they make a ton of money.
Yep.
The problem is they've left a huge gap.
Yes. Yes, they have.
And you have the content to fill that gap.
Wait, what do you mean? If we move off of the May date that we have basically built our brand around, what could we possibly put there instead?
Well, I'm thinking in terms of these 4 movies.
Wait a minute. You're saying to re-release the Avengers movies?
I know. Makes absolutely no sense, right?
No one's going to go to those on those dates in particular for the nostalgic reasons that we all fell in love with them at the same time. That's so genius. It's almost stupid. Like that's how smart that is.
It's so simple that I like rage over why isn't this happening?
I need to understand, because you're absolutely right. Like in terms of those 4 movies,
right.
benchmark movies, and I'm not a fan of Age of Ultron.
Right.
I would still go see it.
Right. It's still, but and clearly if you look at the numbers, it's the the worst of
the 4.
Of the 4.
Yeah.
And I've cut off.
But even then, at the worst of the 4, it's still almost at $500 million domestically.
Yeah.
Like, you re-release that, it's gonna cross
right.
$500 million.
Right. And so it's at 1.4.
Yeah.
Which puts it, $120 million.
Yeah.
Behind Avengers, and obviously it's not gonna catch Infinity War or Endgame, but
right.
It could
get up there.
It could get up there. It could, a couple $100 million. It's not. It will cost you not a lot to say, hey, come back to see these 4 movies
right.
and throw the dates out.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be something that messes up with the Disney movies.
Agreed.
But it could fill spots
easily.
Yes.
Easily. And I'm gonna go one deeper on it. So I said for the longest time that the thing that my daughter Juno will not understand, experience, or anything like that is what it was like to watch Endgame in a theater. She was too young, right?
Yeah.
So you re-release it, there is an entire group of little kids that would lose their minds.
Yeah, because that, as of right now, that's 6 years ago.
Right. And that's gross to say it out loud like that, but absolutely true. Like, so you look at my daughter, she's going into the 3rd grade. If you go 3rd grade up, there's like a huge group of kids who have never seen it, let alone their parents who remember what it was to be in that audience. They're going back. Like that definitely could push Endgame up to a $3 billion movie.
I don't think that's unattainable at all. I think it hits $3 billion.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe not easily. Well, I mean, it's got 200, a little over 200. Yeah, I think it could hit that.
I think it could definitely hit that.
Especially if you're hyping it all up.
Right. Like this is the things that you do to get you ready for Doomsday.
Yeah, and even if, like, let's say they go and they throw it out all 4 separately.
Yep.
And then they package them all together just before Doomsday comes out. It's not that hard. It's, they do stuff like this all the time. They did it with Lord of the Rings.
They sure did.
And they've done it with Lord of the Rings.
At least twice.
Extended versions, which are long.
Super long.
But not boring by any means.
No. And I think this could work tremendously well. We were just talking about this before we started shooting, and we were talking about top 3 movies.
Yeah.
And Avengers 1, absolutely in my top 3.
Yeah.
I would in my non-specific order, it is Avengers 1, Winter Soldier, Black Panther. Now, if I were to say in all honesty, in terms of actual like number 1, like of all time of the bunch, it actually would still be Avengers, because I remember when this was an impossibility. Yeah. The idea that Avengers would ever happen, let alone it be the culmination of a series of movies. No, never.
Right.
So I hold it in super high regard, because not only did they do it, it was grossly entertaining. Like, it was one of the greatest things that I've ever experienced as a longtime comic book fan in cinema, right? Like, I can almost imagine that this is what I assume that it felt like to watch Superman when it first dropped, or maybe remember what Batman '89 was like when you first watched that. Closest thing I got to any sort of like, was it anything like this? Like something? What are your top 3? Or
so the only difference would be is that I put Iron Man over Black Panther.
Fair, more than fair.
And in fact, I think that there's even more that you could throw into this, because easily you say Winter Soldier, and that's essentially Avengers 2.5.
It is
anyway.
It is. Yeah.
I don't know that I would throw in the first Cap and the first Thor.
Fair.
But I definitely would throw in Iron Man and take it off from there.
Yeah. Again, these are movies that weren't reasonable or feasible to be successful.
Well, Iron Man is not. It's not a top tier comic book.
He was not.
He's like C team almost.
Q. Listen, when he
that's fine.
When he went
put it wherever you want.
He went Avengers West Coast and no one batted an eye. Like that's
yeah.
And yet he's now absolutely positioned to be top 3 of their whole setup here. I would even argue. Actually, I saw this. There was a listing online. It had 3 characters as the face of Marvel, and the question was who was number 4. It was Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America. Who is number 4? Now, the guy whose video I saw, he was like, I'm taking Iron Man off because I don't think that he legitimately holds this. I think that's MCU, and based on Marvel Studios' influence, yes, there's a lot of kids that suddenly think that
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
But in terms of comics and time, I'm saying that no, not Iron Man at all. But who would you put as your 4 as the face of Marvel?
I don't have, well, obviously Spider-Man's right there.
Without question.
And I would put Captain America in there.
I like that.
He's not a Marvel original.
Right.
There was a reason why they brought him into the Avengers.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
I would probably...
I feel like you're going to go exactly what this guy in the video said.
It would have to be Wolverine.
That's number 3.
And I'm hard pressed on a 4th one at the moment.
Okay. What he said.
Almost, I'd almost say I have to say Deadpool.
You know what? I can totally get that. He substituted. He took out Iron Man.
Yeah.
And replaced Iron Man with the Hulk, and then said number 4 is Wolverine. And I'm like, I can't argue that. I can't argue that one at all. I think that it fits in terms of eras.
Yeah, I guess so. But I don't know. I thought about the Hulk for a second, but it was just too Jekyll and Hyde for me.
It's fair.
And I know that's exactly what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
Stanley was trying to do with the character. But I the whole rage monster thing, that just at some point in time gets to me.
It's definitely Jekyll and Hyde. No, I totally get that. Now, I will give credence to the fact that I think it is very telling that there's not a female character that I think immediately pops into mind where you go, oh, yeah, no, she should be up there. I don't think there is one. And I think that's something that, in terms of the grand scheme of Marvel, is a problem. That's something that they should fix. But if we were to go like in current continuities, yes, I think Captain Marvel would be in that mix of things. I think like if you go current continuities, you would have Miles Morales Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, definitely Deadpool, but maybe I don't know that Wolverine is still up there right now. Like I feel like that was an era and it's kind of waned. That maybe we would end up getting like Daredevil or something like that. That's a little different, but still not Iron Man. That's my whole point. It's not Iron Man at all. Like he's just not that person in comic bookdom for us. But yeah, man, they should definitely re-release these. I would definitely do the all day package of watching every single last one of these back to back to back.
Yeah.
It's
not a, it's a no-brainer to me. I just don't understand what Disney is thinking at this point.
Why would you not? Because
let's be honest, it's free money.
It is the very definition of free money. Like that. And okay, so let me ask you this: considering how there is such a huge marketplace now for like the popcorn bucket.
Yeah.
Avengers didn't have a crazy cool popcorn bucket.
Nope. So you would have would you have a big popcorn bucket with the A on it for the first one?
Absolutely.
An Ultron head.
Come on, it writes itself.
You'd have to have a Thanos head.
I was gonna say an Infinity Gauntlet, but I don't know which one I would do that for.
I would do the Thanos head for Infinity War, and I would do the Gauntlet
for Endgame.
Solid. And I would make it an Iron Man Gauntlet.
Nice. Well, so wait. You would have Thanos' head or bust form.
I think his head's big enough that the chin would hold a lot of
It
popcorn.
would hold a lot. The only reason why I ask is because obviously, if we're going into the story, Thor doesn't cut off his head until until Endgame.
Yeah,
but
that would be almost too much on the mark.
That's,
right there,
okay,
wouldn't it?
that's fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that would be amazing if you had that, and easy. Like, you could totally do that, and it would be great. Now, okay, so here's where we mix it up a little bit just to just be fun. We do this lineup here for the pre-Doomsday release. Do you throw Thunderbolts in there because it's the new Avengers?
Why not?
Okay, it's free money again.
But also, yeah, that I think that movie actually needs the help.
I can understand that
because I don't think it gets the due that it deserves, because it's better than the 400 million whatever.
Yes, it is.
I don't think it's a great movie, but I think it's good.
Yeah.
And I think it deserves better than it's getting. But also, I don't blame people for not wanting to go. You've got a bunch of characters that, not a lot of people know about.
Right.
And just the way, like, coming off of Brave New World.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, Brave New World did not set this up well enough for people to be excited about it. And it's unfortunate because it is better than Brave New World. Like, let me say that without question. It is better than Brave New World. So it does deserve better than what it's
I just think that the gap between July of this year to December of next year is just
too far.
It's too much.
It's too big. What date? So considering that they did come off dates, let's say using history as a base for it, you'd have, what would you do? November of this year, February of next year, May of next year, July of next year, and then December.
I don't know that you would go to July, but you may space it out even more. Okay. Or, I mean, if I work at Disney, I look at this and I go, I can do better than that.
Fair.
And I would find 10 movies, 12 movies, and I would start with Iron Man. And then I would just go boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. Wow. That's a good point, man. Like, I think, you know what? You're absolutely right, too, because what you could, okay, this is crazy. What you could also do is pick a character and go, just like they do on Disney Plus, here is the such and such collection.
Yeah.
And you go, we're going to pick a character, and we're going to show all of the movies that are associated with this character. Even if they repeat certain movies, who cares?
Right.
It's all about telling a character's narrative. And so, the Civil War is in there twice, 3 times.
Yeah.
I'm going to see it every time.
Yep.
Like, you're absolutely right. Like, they are literally sitting on billions of dollars and not using it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, Disney, here's the solution. Send a 2% check to Bill. 2%. He deserves at least 2. Because that's just too good. If you guys aren't paying attention, shame on you, because this is how companies of your stature fall, because they didn't do the obvious thing. You keep trying to swing, and really all you get on base. Just get on base and get on the next base and get on the base after that. It writes itself. Like, come on. Guys, I want to hear your thoughts. What are your top 3? No specific order. Top 3 MCU movies. I definitely want to hear it. Once again, thank you guys for tuning into the Chatterverse. I am Victor Dandridge, the Heart's Working Man in Comics.
And I'm Bill, and I'll have to set up a P.O. box, I guess.
Yay!